So welcome all for our continuation of this lesson 2 of basic queries with the topic which we need to continue is specifying columns. So before moving with this topic, let's have a quick revision of what we just got introduced in the last topic, which was overview of SQL procedures. Now you people know it's in SAS, this language of SQL we are using, and because it has been used into SAS, it is following its SAS rules of coding. It is developed it with a proc step in SAS. Hence, we use proc SQL and end it with quit. So you saw how one can write the basic queries by select statement. What are the clauses within select statement? We also saw that how the sequence of those clauses has to be followed. It's prerequisite or it's mandatory that you have to follow those steps of clauses to be written within your SQL. Then you also got introduced how one can query a specific table with column names. Okay, so there are few people. Okay. Then we also got introduced about how one can check the syntax without executing the query. So quickly, can anyone quickly revise what are those keywords or those statements where we can check for the syntax errors of Proc SQL?
Validate.
Validate and of course no execution.
No execution.
Right? Then we also saw that you got introduced with two statements within Proc SQL. One was the select statement and second was the reset statement. So reset is the statement which we use to reset your Proc SQL options which you have written for your Proc SQL to be executed with those options, right? Now let's move ahead with specifying columns. So let's see how one can specify specific columns which we need to query in your Proc SQL. So basically, you know, with Proc SQL, when you write selects clause or within a select statement, you specify the columns which you are looking ahead to query from an input table. So in case if you do not want to specify any specific column, you are aware that you use asterisk sign, correct? So let me check with my studio once and then we'll move ahead. Keep your PDF book handy and see to it that you have connected to your SAS Studio. And if you have connected, see to it that you have connected to your databases by using a libname statement where you have created a library for the Orion organization. So very simple query I'm going to show you here. And then we'll move on your slides. All right, so let me connect to all my data sets with SQL data files. I've created a library. All right, so we know that the procedure starts with proc for SQL as well in SAS. Select is the statement where we are going to make use of this statement for writing the query. So once we write asterisk, you are very much familiar with asterisk. It selects all the column from your specific input table which you are specifying in this from clause. So let's work on this SAS help dot class data and you end it with quit. So very simple query. So with this 4 steps, you are actually writing a query of SQL where it queries all the columns and all the rows from your input table. So in log, because it's a procedure and it's actually a querying language, it is not giving you in detail about the data which is its querying. make a note. This is the difference of giving the information in log versus your SAS data step, proc steps or data steps. Okay, earlier with proc steps of any you have learned with base SAS, it was telling that it read a specific data set with so many observations, so many variables. But here it's not giving any of this information. It's because it is not a procedure of your base SAS coding. It's a procedure of writing a SQL language where though we are using an input data set, but it's actually a query language to query databases. And that is why it never gives you any detailed information about how many rows and how many columns it has been querying. All right. So this is where it's querying the table and this is where you are getting the result. But in case if you do not want all the columns, you can specify the columns here in select by using the column name. And because it's a querying language, we are going to use the language specifications by the columns name separated by comma. This is not a SAS rule, it is an SQL rule, right? You people are all aware of it, that when we are selecting any column in base SAS procedures, the column names are not separated with comma but with space, correct? So here we are going to select, suppose age, now name, age, and suppose maybe height. All right. So these are some of the columns. Yes. All right. So when I specify this column separated by comma, by the same sequence of my columns, it will appear in my output, right? So this is how you're specifying some columns, but this is just one example. We'll see more details about it. So let's see the objectives. Explore unfamiliar data, display columns directly from a table, will display columns calculated from another columns in a query, will calculate columns conditionally using a case expression, and of course will create a table from query results. So let's understand a scenario. Now, starting from your earlier topic, for this lesson, you are given a task as a new analyst who are working on existing queries, correct? So it's telling your manager has requested analysis of a table that is unfamiliar to you. So you need to write a query on an unfamiliar table which you are not aware. So one thing is what you do is normally with base SAS, you explore the table. Now, how do you explore the table before working on any table? How do you explore a table? Yes, by getting acquainted with the table, how do you look into that table? How many columns, how many rows?
Proc content.
Yes, absolutely. So you use proc contents, right? So here also we'll see with procedure how you'll explore a specific table. You need to learn about proc SQL statements and options to explore the structure of the table and the data that is it contains. So normally, if you are aware with basic queries, you simply write this type of query, proc SQL select asterisk from a specific table. You see all the columns and all the variables are being showed, or variables or columns and the rows are being queried into your output. Correct? So asterisk is a sign where it queries all the columns and by default it queries all the rows in your output report. So this is a very simple query. So apart by writing a query or looking the query as a result, because this is a huge table maybe with many columns and many rows. So instead of utilizing your system resources, instead of writing the or giving out or checking the result into a result window, let's do not execute the query but check the information. So you can use the option called as feedback. So you can use this feedback when you write asterisk with a proc SQL. So what this feedback option does, so when you use this asterisk sign in a select clause, you can use this feedback option to write the expanded select statement. So let's check how it is. So I can write here feedback. All right, so let's execute this. Okay, so it's giving us the result, but at the same time, when you're writing feedback, it's giving you the details about your current query which you have written, but we have selected the columns. So instead of selecting, it's best it acts when you write asterisk. Okay, so let's check. It will give you expanded query or expanded select statements information. So what is your expanded select statement? So because you have used feedback along with this asterisk, it is giving you in log that your select statement is working on your class table. Hence, it's giving the column names as two-level column names. So what it is preceded with, can what you see here? See what it is highlighting?
Class.
Yeah, so what is this class? It's actually the input table which you are processing, correct? So it's telling it is having class dot name, class dot sex, class dot age, class dot height, and so on columns which are getting queried from this table, correct? So this is what feedback will give you. It's telling it works when you are using asterisk sign in your select clause. All right, so it gives you the information in log. Now it's asking us to work on this activity A03 and review your SAS log. How are the column names represented in the expanded select statement? We have already seen. So how it is expanded in log when you write select statement with asterisk sign and feedback?
Uh, Input table name preceded.
Yes, absolutely. So it's giving you the table name along with the column which it's querying, correct? So this is what it's telling. So here in this example, the column names are preceded with the table name. So in this example, it's using the A option. Okay, in our case, we were using sashelp.class, correct? So it's showing only the table name. So this is how it was showing us. All right. Okay, so another statement is to explore is called your describe statement. So let's see how describe works. So I write proc SQL, describe table, okay, and I give the table name. Suppose I'm going to use it Orion dot employee underscore information. It's a statement. It will end immediately with a semicolon. So do we have this table with us? Is the spelling correct? Employee underscore information. Yes. So let's check out. So it's a describe statement. It is not querying any columns, hence there is no result. Let's check your log. So what it's telling, see, it's telling when this table with this statement was executed, it's telling the table was read. It's telling employee ID is the column into it. It's a numeric form. It is having a format applied. It's having a label. So what do you see this? What is this? It's into parenthesis. So what it is telling you with describe?
It's telling the name plus how the format is, like every information about the column,
Absolutely.
which
So it's
comes.
telling you absolutely correct. So it's telling you these are the columns in the table, and along with this, the columns, it's also giving its attributes. That is its name, its if it's applying a permanent format, a label, and what type of column it is. So see here, it's numeric, it's telling department is character with the length, job title is character with the length, it's having a label called as employee job title. Getting it? So this is how it's similar like your proc content. One can use describe statement. So either you can describe a table or a view. So what is a view? We'll see it later in upcoming topics with your SQL. But this is how you can always look into your table before working it, just to understand the columns and its type. Okay. So this was general to understand or explore your table. Now let's work with the scenario. So it's telling produce a report that contains selected information for all Orion Star employees. So this is the input table. You need to write a procedure only for selected columns. So how do you specify these columns? You require the report to be generated only employee ID, employee gender, and salary. So for that, you are going to write a Proc SQL step with select. The column names are separated by comma, from clause, quit. Correct? So this is how it will give you the result as what is expected. You are familiar with this also? Okay. Now check this activity A04. Go ahead, open this activity for lesson 2 A04. Submit and review your SAS log to answer the following question. What syntax error was defined in the log?
Comma separation between variables.
Yes. So what is happening? So because by default, as we discussed in the previous class also, we keep on giving the commas at the end of the column also. So sometimes you have to remember that it is going to give you a syntax error. So commas used to separate the items in the list were omitted. Correct? So remember to use commas to separate items in a list, such as where you are going to specify commas for your columns. So in the select statement, in group by statement, or when you are using a order by statement. Okay, now next scenario. Modify the previous report by creating a new column bonus, which contains an amount equal to 10% of employee salary. So how you will work on this? How you will create a new column? Any idea? Which is going to be 10% of your salaries. Ideally, how do we create a new column?
Data.
I think select column as, sorry,
Ideally, in data step, how do you
Data.
create? Yeah,
We write data and then we give the name of bonus and then we later give the equation to write it like bonus equal to salary
salary into
to
a
correct.
10
0.10.
over 100. Yeah.
Absolutely. So normally you write it as an assignment statement giving bonus is equal to where you are telling it is going to be the 10% of your
Salary
salary, which is salary
into
into
10 into 10
point,
divided by 100 or
10.
yeah,
maybe that way,
10
or you can write point 0.1,
point 1. Yeah, 0.10.
whatever. Correct. So this is how you give, but it's an assignment statement. This assignment statement, do you think it's valid here if I write like this? Let's check. So see, it's not understanding anything like this. Let's not give this semicolon also. It was a syntax error. Now let's execute here. Bonus equal to salary into point 0.1 or point 0.10. So it's a syntax error again. So it's telling columns were not found in contributing tables named as bonus. So why it's not working here? Any idea?
Because it has to be a defined column already for select to find it. It's not going to make another new one.
Absolutely correct. So this type is a assignment statement which is valid only in data step, where you can create a new column with assignment statement in your base SAS data step. It's a proc step. So in proc step, you cannot use assignment statement, but still with your SQL language, you need to create this new column. So for that, what you can do it in SQL is, it's really a beautiful language which even I like. So I simply write this calculation and I tell this column to be replaced, or I simply execute this. Okay, let's see. So when I execute this, I get the procedure getting executed, and see, because it's a proc step, it gives you me the result, and this is what it gives me, the new column in my output, but the column name is not defined. correct? So this is the calculated values which are coming. Why? Because of this expression which I have specified in the select clause. But if I want to specify a column name for it, I write as a keyword where it will give you the column name. So I simply write that the new calculation which it happens for every row should have a column heading as bonus. So as is like an alias name I'm giving for that new assignment column. So this is what it's giving me, the bonus column. All right. So this is where I come across how one can create a calculated column. Fine, so you can write the expression directly into your select clause to calculate a new column. All right, so it is only for your result. All fine people, you are not at all disturbing your original table. Are you all with me?
Yes, sir.
Able to follow what we have done?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
All right. So this is what when they were telling. So let's see the same thing. So name the new column using the as keyword when you are writing in this way. So you get this columns along with the new column, which is a calculated column with the expression you are writing in a select clause. Please mute yourself. Someone has kept unmuted. So now you have a next scenario. So the scenario here is you have been asked to modify the previous bonus report to conditionally calculate bonuses. So you now everyone is not going to get the same bonus. Okay. As you know, we are working on employee information data, and you know there are employees with job titles with various levels. So the levels are level 1 to 4 and others. So others includes managers, higher managers and all those. So when the job title level is 1, the person will get 5% of its salary bonus. It's 2, it's 7%, 3, 10%, 4 will be 12%, and all other apart from this will get 8% of their bonuses with their salaries. Okay, so this is what it's telling. See, if it's manager, he will receive 8% bonus. That's what it comes under others. Secretary 1, because it's level 1, it will get 5%. Assistant, though this is the name of job title, but it's having a level of 2. So he will get, he or she, whatever, it's getting 7% of bonus. Now you need to calculate the bonus depending on the various levels of the job title, and those percentages are varying. So in our current scenario, is it possible for you to give the condition to calculate bonus according to various levels? Yes.
So can we use if then else here? Sorry.
Okay. Others, do you agree with Nilima? Shanmuga,
Select,
Swarupa,
select when statement also I can use.
select when. Okay. Any more inputs? Priyanka, Swarupa, Ikram, in case if you can think on it. I know Monica and Padma, for you it's new. Anything? If no, then we have a clause coming up where you can conditionally calculate this type of bonus column by using select when or case when expression. So before that, answer this. Which of these SAS character functions have you used? So mostly all, correct?
Yes.
Character,
Yeah, all of them.
first one.
Character we have got the introduced, you if you remember, in
To
BASAS when we
find
were getting introduced to the various character functions.
to
I we
find
had
one state, like one specific letter, alphabet.
absolutely correct, correct. We had seen this one of the demo I had shown you. All right. So yes, you might have used. So in our case, what is happening? Again, even if we are looking ahead to calculate bonus at the end of this levels, but you find this positions of levels are not the same. Correct? So in that case, you need to make use of certain function. So we are going to make use of which function? That you can
Scan.
say
Scan.
scan is best. Yes, scan is
Scan.
best because the values are not going to have at specific positions the levels. So we can always make use of a scan function where the words are separated with blanks, correct? So accordingly, we can use the scan function. So this is where we are going to see. See, it's telling at the end of your string, that is the third word, is having the level. So you know what the function is. So this is the general review slide of scan function. So this is where when you're using in your job title, that scan function at third position separated by space is having a level which is 2. But do you think every time this level is going to be at the same position, that is the third position?
No.
No. Why? Because
Manager has one.
manager does not have any level, but look at
Mhm.
secretary, look at assistant. It's not at the third position in this scenario,
Yeah.
correct? So that is what it's telling here, that when you are working on this type of values, this position is not going to be work out. So it's going to give us a blank value. So how you overcome here this issue?
Instead of starting from beginning, we'll start from end. That's what we did in the SAS. Whatever is the last letter.
So how you were giving the expression?
Good question.
If we
Come on,
want
it was
We're
a
giving it from
the last letter, we have to give
Negative
minus.
value we can give from the last.
yeah, but we were using
no,
right in that, right?
no. It wasn't the right function.
Minus
So
one, the last.
right. So you were
Minus the
using
last. Yeah.
correct. So the logic was you were working with that it should start extracting the words from end of your string. So this is what you were writing. So start extracting job title from its end string, that is -1 separated by space. So this is where it was exactly extracting only the last word which was separated by space by end of the string. Correct? So those who are new for this function, it's actually the function to extract the words from your character string. Character strings means column, which is job title. So currently our job title has the value office space, assistant space, level 3. So these are the three words, okay? Why it's taking three words? Because they are all separated by space. So what scan function does is from the column, we are telling extract the third word separated by space. So that is why this is becoming the first word, this is the second word, this is the third word, okay? And the syntax is explaining that you are working on the string. You give the count, that is the word which you need to extract, separated by any character list or modifiers. Character list means here it is separated by space. If the values were separated by any comma sign, then you need to specify that delimiter which separates the word. All right, Padma, Monica, Arun, Vikram.
Yes.
Yes. So this was the example with a current scenario for this. So you used, so it's extracting appropriately this value. But every time we are not going to have this level at third position, correct? So you can always extract the string from the end of its value or end of the string. Hence you give this expression with -1 separated by space. So from end, it will start extracting the word. So from end, this becomes the first word, hence it's extract. So for this value, from end, it is the first word it extracts because you are asking it which is separated by space. All right. So scan
Ashwini,
function, one sec. Scan function processes from right to left when the value of count argument is negative. All right. That means it starts reading from right to left like this. All fine? Understood now? Those who have newly joined, Monica, Padma, Vikram, Arun.
Yes.
Okay. So Priyanka, tell me what you was telling me.
so in the case of manager, when there is nothing, It will count manager as the last one.
Absolutely. Yes, but that we are not going to include in our expression because that will come into other, correct?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll have to
So,
give a function which will say that if it is not 1, 2, 3 or numeric thing, then it has to choose it as other.
absolutely correct. So that's what we are going to see in this, that hence we come across a expression called as case expression. It is similar like your select when statement of your data step, but here because it's not a data step, it's your proc SQL. It's a modified way of calculating new columns conditionally. So you write select, you select all the columns which you are querying. Case, you give the case which you are working on, and you give when condition, then the expression. It's similar like your select when clause. Else you write your other expression, and is required from the table. Okay, so this is the syntax which we are going to use, which is called select when. So to create new columns conditionally, we are going to use select expression in your select list. So there are two forms of case expressions. So case expression is evaluated for each row of a table and returns a single value. So this is what we are going to do. So this is one expression where you are not writing this expression in case. So it is like this here. Okay, so you're simply writing case when scan your job title -1 separated by space. If the value is I, then salary should be calculated as 0.05, which is 5%. If your job title is 2, the salary will be 7% of its bonus. All this and see else salary into 0.08, which is all other job titles which are not level 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, manager and all will fall into it. Got it, Priyanka now? Yes,
Got it.
yes. And at the end, you are telling end as, give this column name as bonus. So don't you think it's similar like a select when statement of data step?
Yes.
Yes. There you were writing the expression directly with your select statement in data step, but here the select statement has a different function as to query the columns. So we are not using the case or the expression in select, but we are using a new expression called case. Okay, and then we are giving this conditions and as column name. Earlier with data step select, when we were using otherwise, here you are writing else. Got it? So with this form of case syntax, you can use equality and non-equality test for validating all these values. Okay. So when it's telling the first when clause is true, if it determines which value case expression returns, subsequent when expressions are not evaluated. It's same like what we have learned earlier. All right. So if all the when expressions are false for the current observation, whichever it is processing, and the current value for your job title is not having any level 1 to 4, that means if it is manager, then it will execute this. Correct? So that's what it's telling. The optional else expression provides an alternate action if none of the when expressions are true. If no else expression is present and every when condition is false, the case expression returns a missing value. All right. And this is your second form of case. So you're writing this expression in case. With when, you're simply giving the value, then salary. See this? All right. And see this earlier one. Your case, you are not giving the expression, but you are specifying it in when clause. But the second form is with your case itself, you can give the expression and then you give this conditions. All right. Understood this?
Yes, Ashwini.
What is this equality test?
Equality means you're validating these values actually. Case is to validate the values. If it's not true, that means it's this. If this is false, it will be any of these values. But if the value is not falling in any of it, it will return missing value. That's what it's telling you. It is testing for validity for these values. That's it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can open this demonstration D08 and work out on this demonstration and check the both expressions, one with your case expression and one we are writing the expression in when. So it's lesson 2 D08. So here you have demos D08. So this is the one which we recently saw, and this is the one which we had seen with when you are writing the expression. Go ahead and work on this expression and check whether you're getting the same result. Should check that the bonus is coming up calculated appropriately depending on the values of the job title.
Ashwini, can you tell the activity again, number?
It's here, Priyanka. D08 lesson 2.
D08.
Yes, Ashwini. Done.
Okay, so if all have completed with this demo and if understood that how this case works, it gives the same result for both the expressions, correct? Move ahead with the next business scenario. Now look at this business scenario. It's telling management needs a report that includes the employee identifier, gender, and age for an upcoming audit. So this is the columns, employee ID, gender, and age. Okay, from your employee information table. So in case if you have observed and carefully looked into your employee data or employee information table, do you have a age column into it? So do we have an age column here? You have employee ID, start date, end date, department, job title, salary, employee gender, birth date, hire date, term date, manager ID.
No,
Do you have age column?
no.
But it
Then
has a
how?
birth date,
But
no?
it is there.
Yes. So how you'll do this?
System date.
Yes. So how will work in this case?
System date minus birth date.
But date minus current date by 365.25.
Yeah. But then how you'll do it? Let's see. Proc SQL, select. So what are the columns they required on this? Employee ID, gender, age. Employee underscore ID, comma. You have a column employee underscore gender. How you'll calculate this? Age. From Orion dot employee underscore information. Yes. How I calculate age? So as you people were telling, we are going to write.
But
Yes.
sorry, first current date.
So how is the current date taken?
System date.
Today.
Okay. System date. Yes. Let's work with a function called today.
Today blank.
Yes.
Yeah. Minus
Okay. It's called today with a null parenthesis. Okay. Okay. Minus
birth date
birth date. Okay.
by 365.25.
So this everything has to be divided by 365.25. Correct?
Yes.
This whole thing, correct?
Formula is that, right?
Yeah. And this whole thing is divided by 365.25.
Mm.
So what is 365.25?
Exact number of days in
So
a
this is the number of days in a year. So we include if your year also has any leap year. Okay. Monica and Padma, this is what we are doing. Okay. Now let's execute. Okay. Let's give this name as suppose age. Your age has been calculated, but your age is having decimals. Do we have any age with fraction values? Do we always tell anyone, oh, my age is suppose 30.3?
You can use round.
Okay. So do you really use round? It will give you the exact date, your age, sorry, because this is more than 5. So don't you think if you round up this 7, it will add one value to this one, so it becomes 42. Same goes here. So will it give you the right age,
There is one
Swarupa?
function. There was one
Integer.
function
Integer.
YRDIF.
Right. So you can
INT
use
integer.
a function called int, where int returns the value with its integral portion. That means if I use the function int, this integer's values will not be considered. It will take its integral value, which is 41, which is 48, and so on. All fine?
Ashwin,
So this, yeah,
that YRDIF, that function we can't use here.
YRDR, I did not understand.
Age, like year difference, like birth date, comma, today's, and then age. That
Yes, you can use that also. That function also you can use. I will give you one more function called as intck and intnx. That can also be taken care of. So just note these functions and read about it in your help document. Functions intck, intnx. Check out what are these functions. Okay. So see now you got your age perfectly calculated. All right. So Padma and Monica and Vikram. So when I ask you people to read this something INTCK, you have a website of SAS which is called as www.support.sas.com.
Okay.
Okay. So
Yeah.
you need to read these topics from this help document, which is an online support from SAS, which gives you everything from A to Z in detail about each step, each procedure, each function, each keyword. So you will read with examples on this website.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So in case if you want to just look into it, I'll show you the glimpse of it. So it's support. See, so it's available for us 24 by 7 online. It's free of cost to be used. So you can always explore the topics. So you can always move into this that we are going to work with SAS programming 9.4 and we are. Okay, so we need to click this. Want, I'll give you this also. Always bookmark this page. Okay. So see details of data step, base SAS procedures. So you have all the procedures listed. See, you have SQL procedures also. All right. So you have data steps. So you will also have functions. So with data steps, it will show you about functions. So with this functions, you have all the functions written. So in case if you want to see any specific function, you can always note the information. You can write INTCK function as well. So you need to search this. It takes a bit time when you're searching it like this, but in case anyone got this information, just provide that link so that we can directly connect to that INTCK link. Meanwhile, even this comes.
Is it same as it's giving me working with time series data? Should I
Yes.
give the link to that?
Yeah, it's okay. Now it's coming for me. It's all fine. No problem. Thank you, Priyanka. Let's check this. See, interval functions, INTNX, INTCK. Okay. This is what you was telling, right, Priyanka?
No, I have a 60-page book, so definitely that's faster.
So
Let me
that's
see.
what it is. 65 results for INTCK. So
It's
it's
the
an
same.
online doc. So it's a dictionary for us. So see, it's working with time series data. So you can read this and you can work out. Okay. All right. So if you want, I can give you this link.
I just
Read it.
gave.
Okay, you pinged me. Great. Read about this later on. All right. So let's move ahead with our current scenario and topic. So we were here to calculate age, right? So we have already done it by our demonstration. So it's telling you the same that employee data is stored in employee information table and employee's age can be calculated based on his or her birth date. So this is what we expected and we all know. Now those who are newly joined, please understand this concept In SAS, the dates are not saved as a different form of column. In SAS, we have only two types of columns, character and numeric. Though date values are having values which are stored like this, but they are not saved separately as a date format, or sorry, as a date type column. Of course, with relational database concept with data warehouses, there are various types of columns where date is also taken as a different as a type of column. But when it comes to SAS, dates are saved as numeric type of column, and it saves numeric because it calculates the date in the form of number of days. So how it saves the date in the system? If you have a specific date, now the dates which has been saved is saving, as I said, in the form of number of days. It calculates the dates from the zero day, which is 1st Jan 1960 is the zero day. If the date is 1st Jan 1961, it calculates that many days, hence it will save it as 366 days. If the date is before 1st Jan 1960, if it is like this 1st Jan 1959, it will save it as in a negative value. So it is minus 365 days. So you make a note that in SAS, the dates are saved as number, which is calculated in the form of number of days, which it calculates it from 1st Jan 1960. So 1st Jan 1960 is considered zero day, and from that day onwards, whatever you're dated, it accordingly will save the date in the form of number of days. All fine? And if you want to display that date, it will be displayed in a applied format. So here the format applied is mmddyy 10 dot. So mmdd means 2 digits of month, 2 digits of your day, and 4 digits of year, including slashes. The total width is 10. All right, Padma, Vikram, Monica.
Yeah.
Okay. So in case in our current information, if we see this table with birth date, so here it's applied a format, I suppose. It's applying a format date 9 dot. But that's why you can read this date. You can read this date. You can interpret this date because it's in the form of, it's applying a format. Format means the way you read it. Okay, fine. So therefore you see this, you can read it. But ideally, originally your dates or your date are always saved in the form of number of days. Okay?
Yes. I have one question, Ashwini. What is
Yes,
dot 25?
where it is.
After, no, in the program, like 365.25. What is this?
Okay, that. See, 365 is the number of days in a
Days.
year.
Yes.
Fine. So in case if any year has a leap year, one day extra, right? Like
Yeah.
29 Feb.
Yes.
We never have 29 Feb coming every year. It
Yeah.
comes after every 3 years, right? So
Yeah.
this point 25 is for that, including your leap year day.
Okay.
Okay?
Why we give 25?
It's calculated accordingly, hence it is 0.25.
Okay.
Okay, so if you consider as a whole 100%, so this 0.25 you can consider as just 25%, where every 3 years it comes, right? It's not
Okay.
there
Yeah.
for every year.
Yes, yes.
Okay, therefore it's taking 0.25.
Okay.
All right, so this is where it's telling if you want to calculate the age, either you make use of functions like today, month, or int function. Okay, so in this case, you're writing today, which will see it's showing you, it's representing that the dates is in the form of number of days. Okay, originally in your memory of SAS in table, the birth date column is saved in the form of number of days. Your today function, which is extracting your current system date, is also in the form of number of days. Hence, it is easy to perform this subtraction. So it will calculate the number of days divided by so many, days, and it will return its integer value. So originally it's telling that whatever is your current system date minus your birth date, which is current birth date for our employees, this divided by this number of days, it will give you the age. So this age is coming in integers. So because of int function, you are selecting only the integral part of this number, hence you'll get the whole number. Okay, so this is what is all about calculating your column conditionally or with a specific requirement with expression. Okay, now the question is you need to know which month the particular date is coming as a birth date for an employee in your result. So how you will get this information?
Month of the birth date.
So what is it? You can use a function called month, correct? So moving back, you can calculate this by writing a function month. Now it's a function of SAS which extracts the month value from your column, which is birth underscore date. And this you can give the name as birth month. Okay. All right. So let's check. Look at its order. I'm giving the order before the age column. Hence, the result will also come that it will be, okay, I have a syntax error. Why is a syntax error, tell me?
Separation of
Comma.
Yes, so here I should
Comma.
have given comma, absolutely, because it's a column which is newly created and this is another column. Hence, this was expected. See? So this is what it is. So in case if I select its original birth column, this is the column from your table. Okay. So let's check because it's already having a predefined format. It will be applied coming with that particular format itself. So see, the month is August. So it's extracting the month 8, right? So 8th is the month which is August month. So it will calculate or it will extract the month from 1st to 12 months from a year. Okay. So here again, the next is same. So here it's Jan. So it's extracting first month, which is 1. May is the 5th month, 5. December, it's a 12th month. Feb, it's a second month. Got it? How month function works? Monica, Padma,
Yes.
Vikram, Arun. Okay. So this, of course, we will cover it in detail in your base SAS also. But I just wanted to give you this information here so that it's an add-on for your knowledge. So you can read about functions also in your help document. Okay. So answer this poll. Okay, it's telling it's correct. So how do you get? We have already seen that we used a month function. Okay, now next scenario here is to support management's request for reports, you need to create a new table that contains selected columns from an existing table and calculated column names as well. So whatever we have written currently, that existing column tables and the calculated column, you do not want it to be saved or to be generated as a report on your result window. You want it to be saved as a table which you can share it with your upline managers. So how this result can be directed not as a report but as a data set. So for that, you get introduced to a new statement called as create table. Give the table name as what they have said, birth month. Now you know there is no libref provided for this table. By default, it will be saved into work library, which is your temporary library. So in case if you provide any permanent libref name here, it will be saved into that particular library, correct? So I give this name and I write as. So what this mean is When SQL will start processing sequentially, okay, when SAS reads the statement, first statement is create table with the name birth month as. So this table has to be created as per this instructions. So the instructions is to query these columns, existing columns and new columns which are calculated from this table. So it will query this and the result will be saved as a table. It will not send it to a result window. So when you execute this proc SQL checkout, you will not get anything into result, but the result is been directed to a data set. See, it's telling output table is created, output data with so many columns and so many rows. And the name of the table is work.birth month. So these are the three columns which are coming from input table, and birth month and age is your calculated column which you have calculated as an expression in your select clause. See, so if you check your log, so see it's telling table work dot birth month created. See the terminology used. It's telling table. It's no more using the terminology as SAS dataset. And it's see the terminology, so many rows and so many columns. So it's not telling variables and observations. It's because it's an SQL language where it queries databases. So terminologies is accordingly used. All right. So this is your code for creating a table from your result. So here you get the introduction to the syntax for create table, give a table name as and write a query. So this column will be saved or this result of your query will be saved as table. So it's see what it's telling as being a alias name this column which you have provided. So in a single query, see in a single query what you can do is you have created a table, you need to understand the table description because it's not giving you any result, correct? So you can write describe table. So which table you have created? Birth underscore month. In a single query you are creating a table, you are checking its contents and you are also creating its report. So you write again the same thing from birth underscore month. Got it? So what are you doing? You are creating a table, you are describing it or you are checking its description, correct? And of course you are querying it again to check its output. So in a single proc SQL you are doing all these steps. So if the same thing you had to do with base SAS, you would have written a data step, then you have written a proc content step, and then you have written a proc print step. So multiple steps you avoid by using proc SQL. In a single step you do the same thing. So check it out. This is the result for your last query. So if you check it, first, this was your proc step. So it's creating a table. That's what it's telling. Table is created. Then because of describe, it's giving you the extended table information that these are the column and its type. And because of select asterisk from, you get this result. Understood? That's what they have shown here also. Describe, select and all. Same thing in log. Get this output. So they have selected the gender as well. See this dates they are telling it's in the form of number of days in your original data. But in our case, the data is already applied with a permanent format. So it's a readable format date. All right, so just move ahead and do this demonstrations. So the demonstrations are D08 you have already done, D09, D010 and D011. So it's D09, D010 and D011. Go ahead, do this demonstrations.
Yes, Ashwini.
All right, so if you people have done with this demo, let me know. We'll start with an exercise. Come to your PDF book, please. Come to your PDF book, page 2-34. Everyone, PDF book, Monica, Padma. Priyanka, Swarupa, Shanmuga, Vikram.
Done, Ashwini. I'm taking the exercise.
Okay. Everyone come to this PDF, page 2-34. Let's work with level 1, exercise number 1. It's telling querying a table. Write a query that displays all rows, all columns from your employee payroll. Then it's telling modify your previous query that only selects this column. So it's a very simple one. Okay. So along with it's the continuation, the first level, it's the continuation with second. Let's calculate a new column. So using the same query which you have used in level 1, you need to calculate a new column for tax. Okay. Use your employee payroll table here.
So it will be salary by 3 as tax.
Yes. So after doing this simple query level 1, come to level 2. So it's telling display employee ID, gender, marital status, salary, and a new column tax that is 1/3 of employee salary. Yes. So what is 1/3?
By 3. Salary by
Yes.
3.
Yes. Go ahead. So the result should be this way for tax. So do level 1 and level 2. It's very simple, both of it. Okay, so now after specifying columns, let's move ahead to specify rows. Okay, so we'll specify rows. We'll see how one can eliminate duplicate rows, and we'll select a subset of rows in a query. So moving ahead, you have a scenario here. Display the names of Orion Star departments using employee information table. So if you move back into your SAS Studio, you have employee information table, and you have the information about employees and in which department they are working. So for all 424 individual employees, every employee is representing its department. So in case if you write a simple program where you want to know that how many departments does this table consist, so if you write Proc SQL, if you write select, you need to work only with department column from Orion dot employee underscore information. All right, and you write quit. So if you simply write this, what will happen? It will give you all the rows by default from this column. See, all 424 rows. See, now you are not able to see the number, but if you want to see the row numbers, you can include this option with Proc SQL number. So what it does, simply it lists all the rows from the selected column to be displayed or queried in your output. So see, 1, 2, how many rows? 424. And you see most of the time the values are repeating. We don't want all this department values. We just want to know how many values are there or what are the types of department. So in that case, in Proc SQL, what you can do is ideally, you can make use of a keyword called as distinct. So this keyword distinct is written in before your column in your select, where it will select only the distinct values for this column. And depending on how many columns you are keeping and extending in this, for every column it will work to select the distinct values. So it will remove the duplicates. So the same thing if you want to do with base SAS, what you would have done?
No dupe key.
No do.
Correct. There you have used proc sort step, correct? There you might have used no dupe key. So this is where it's now telling you are having 17 different departments which are distinct values. All right. Okay, so this is how it works with distinct keyword, and you get information. So it's the same thing which we had seen earlier. So use a keyword distinct to eliminate duplicate rows. So distinct keyword applies to all columns in your select list. One row is displayed for each unique combination of values. So remember, if you're writing multiple rows, distinct will work on every, sorry, multiple columns, distinct will work on every column, but how will represent the values? One row is displayed for each unique combination of your values. So it will first work within department, the next column values distinct. Okay, accordingly it will give you the distinct values. So this is what you get, one row per department. Okay, now answer this question. Which partial select statement selects only the unique combination of gender and job title? So
B.
if you understood, okay, if you have understood the syntax for distinct and
Yep.
what we have described, you will be able to answer this question.
C is there is no comma. So in the
Mhm.
B only one distinct is there. So we can go for the B.
Why not A?
We need not give every time distinct for every variable.
Yeah.
Correct. Agreed, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Now understand the scenario. Management requested a list of employees whose salaries exceed $112,000. So you need to select only those rows for employees who are earning more than this value. So you know, if you want to subset a data, you used where clause. So hence you write a where clause. Correct? So it's the same where clause as we have seen with your base SAS. So it will give you the same result. So subsetting comparison operators in SQL, it's telling you can use all common expressions or comparison operators with where clause with this symbols or with mnemonics also in SQL. All right. So you can use operators like or and not or this signs. Okay. So when you are using this type of symbols, it's as per some of the standards, okay, of your some international standards of data representation. So this is with your where clause. I hope you remember what in operator is doing. Contains, is null, is missing, between and, sounds like, and like. So Monica and Padma, when you get time, you can just revise this slide and go through this expressions. Okay.
Yeah.
And read more about this into help document.
Okay.
Okay, so now answer this poll. Open this activity to provide a where expression that selects only those rows in which the employee's first names begin with N. So you need to select all these employees. Now this name of the employees, first they have last name and then their first name. So you're selecting all those employees whose first name are starting with N. So open this activity and write a where clause to select all those whose first name is starting with N. So the values are like this. So which expression you will be writing here? Remember either what you are going to make use of. In sub str, why you need sub str here?
You can put the position number 2 and then extract that.
Try it out. Others, what do you think? Now, the previous slide, it was just a revision. So can you tell what best will work here? Priyanka,
Sounds like
Shanmuga,
sounds like
And
are you
also
sure?
Perform
Sounds like
and
means, see, what does sounds like, do you know? If there is a word called SYMT, okay, and the Smith, so it's telling like which is the pronunciation is similar to what is Smith, but the spell may be different. So it will select all those values which are sounding like Smith. Okay, so sounds like will not work. Why? Because it's telling that all the first name which is starting with N. So what it is sounding here like N? Anything like this?
it will be like
like
Yeah. So how will give the pattern for like?
like percent and percent. Like.
Okay. You can also make use of contents, or you can also make use of like, as you said. So see this contents.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So this part means before comma, whatever it is, there is a space, and of course, anything which is starting with N. But yes, like is most preferred operator which I can use in this example, as very correctly you people said it. Okay, now next scenario here is management requested a report that includes only those employees who receive bonus less than 3,000. Now understand the current scenario is a bit different than what we had learned in our current scenario, where we are going to select the bonus where the values are, we are going to calculate the bonus values less than 3,000. We know that if this is the expression overall, that it's calculating the bonus. Now bonus, you know, it's a new column and I want to select the bonus. So hence I may make use of a where expression where I'm going to subset the rows telling bonus is greater than, let's see,
Less than, I think.
less than it's telling.
Um,
yes, less than.
Less than.
yeah, less than it is.
less than.
Okay, fine. Less than equal to. Error. So what it's telling you?
Those columns are not found.
Which column? So it's very clearly highlighted in red. What column is not found?
Bonus.
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 Absolutely. What is bonus? Is it the column coming from input table?
We are calculating the bonus from the salary of the input table.
Correct. But is bonus contributed by input table?
No.
So where works on selecting the rows which are coming from the columns from input table.
Oh.
So it's same like your space as data step where and subsetting if. Where works on existing columns.
Okay, yeah.
But here bonus is not an existing column, it's a calculated column. So Proc SQL will not support subsetting if.
So we
Then
can
how you will,
We
yeah,
have to create new table.
we can say like the same salary into 0.1 instead of the bonus column.
okay, yes. So yes, very correct. So either you write the same expression here, okay, because it's SQL. So Monica, what you was telling is absolutely correct. You can either save this query result as a table and then you can subset this. That is also correct. But we don't want to create a table. We want to work it with the current flow itself.
Oh,
Okay, so yes, it's working here. What you have done, that in SQL you can, SQL supports that you can write the expression with your subsetting criteria. Either which ways, what you can do is, this is one thing, or the second way of writing your where clauses with this, that it is an enhancement with SAS. Okay, now this is as per your SQL standard querying language rules. You are writing it as NSI rules. Okay, but as per SAS enhancements, you can use a keyword called as calculated, and you can directly make use of a column for it. Which column we have calculated? Bonus. Okay, and you can write bonuses less than equal to 3000. All right, so what does this mean? That you are working to subset the data on bonus, and this bonus, though it's not from an existing table, but it's a calculated, it's a keyword you're using to, where you're telling it's a calculated column to subset your rows. So this is SAS enhancement, and this is as per your ANSI standards. Okay, so this is where SAS enhancements with SQL works best, and that's why most of the time SAS prefer writing queries with SQL in SAS. So see, you get the same thing. All right, understood now what calculated is?
Yes.
Same thing we'll see on slides. So this is where it was telling. Your where clause is evaluated before select clause. Always make a note, as I always tell you, where works before the columns rows are brought into your PDV on existing columns. Same thing it's doing here. Where works always before your process has been working or initiated. It will first filter the rows and then it will process in your PDV. All right. But because bonus is not from an existing table, it's not an existing column, of course, it will give you the error. So either as per ANSI standards, you write the expression which is calculating bonus in where to subset your rows, or you can make use of a SAS enhanced keyword called calculated. So it is SAS enhancements which you are implementing into SQL language. So an alternate method is to use calculated keyword in your where clause. Ideally, SQL does not have this calculated keyword. It's just because we are using SQL language into SAS. It's developed in SAS like this. Hence, we call it as SAS enhancement with the keyword calculated. All right. This could be one of your interview questions with SQL for calculated. All fine, people?
Yes.
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 So this is what the bonus has been calculated. So next thing, on the same column bonus, you can also make use of to create a new column in your select. So see, you're writing calculated bonuses divided by 2, and the column is half bonus. So in your select clause also, you can use this keyword on a new column to be calculating the new column again. So it's calculated bonus divided by 2 as half. All fine? So it's telling you can also use calculated keyword in your other parts of queries. So they have used it in a select clause. So you get half of the bonus values. And that's it, an exercise. So just open this demo D014 and 15. Do we have 14? Yes. D012. Start with demo D012, D013, D14 and D15. D12, 13, 14, 15. So come to this exercise, page 2-47, level 1 and level 2. So level 1 is to eliminate duplicates. Level 2 is subsetting data. Yes. Work on this. So escape is like one of the operators which you can use in where clause, where now in this value, if you see, they are asking you to select all those rows who is what is it telling? Display employee ID receipt and new column total with a charitable values, correct? So you want to have this charity values where their total is coming to 100. That's what it's telling. Now here the organization is providing charity for two organizations, correct? Hence the total is 100. So here also there are two organizations, depending on whatever the contribution is, that it's coming total. So in your receipt column you have the values where there are two contributors or there are two donations happening for a particular organization whose total is coming as total. So we want to select all those recipients who are receiving the donation and whose total is coming 100 or greater than 100. 100 equal to or greater than 100, correct? So now here you have this. Now there are two values. So the values are, this is one organization, comma, this is the second organization. So if you are selecting or you are using a like operator to select this pattern, but you will get only one value like this. You want both of it. So what escape does is, you are going to select all the values which escapes a special signs with percent if you provide, and it will select all those from your current scenario. That is what escapes does. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Ashwini,
Yeah.
please
So
repeat.
one sec, one sec. So where is our help document? Okay. Let's use here to find out escape. It's one of the where operators. Okay. So it will mask the normal meaning of your special signs to escape that and read ahead of it. That is what escape is. So in our case, in our receipt column, you have two contributors. Okay, Priyanka. So we want to have those all the twos who are having this particular value with percent signs, correct? Because their contribution is also giving 80%, 20%, or 50%. So it should escape that percent sign and comma sign and move ahead and read the value. Are you getting it?
So we need to provide the delimiters what all to escape.
Yes. So check this syntax with escape. So do we have anything coming with escape? Where expression? Okay. So have you checked out? So where is it? It's upsetting in where? Let's leave it here. Okay, look at the screen now. So using this where function, or sorry, where clause, where receipt like. So in your like operator, you are using this. One sec. All right. So this is how your like operator is. So with like, normally we give the pattern, correct? So we are telling anything which is before INC. And of course, you want to select all those organization which is INC and which has 90 and having this pattern. So when you're writing this percent, now percent here is actually the part of the value. Okay, so percent is a part of this 90%. So it should escape this special sign. Why? Because normally we have the values as 80%. Correct? Then you have certain value of a organization, and then you are writing you have the value as 20%. Correct? So this percent in your like operator, we know it's like anything which is before INC, n number of characters, and percent here indicates anything after percent sign, n number of characters. But we are telling this percent is a part of 90 as a value. So you give this epsilon telling it should escape this special sign and read it as anything ends with INC with 90% or anything with percent sign. Are you getting it now?
Yes.
Right? So you're working with which table? Donations. So if you check this donations table, Orion donations. So before working on any query, I had always asked you to understand your input table. So let's understand what is the column of recipient. See, anything which ends with INC, 90%. So it's international. Okay, international, and total should come as 60. So this is two values. So these are two values. Here also see, but here it's ending with limited. Then you have this will not come. Okay, where is another INC values? So this is one INC value which is 100%, but there is no percentage with it. So like this, it should select, because in your expression or in your PDF itself, they have explained that they want all the organizations which are INC, and they are giving a total of more than 100% contribution. Are you getting it now? That's why we had used this expression in our code with to escape this sign, so that it will take care that this percent is not a part to select all the values post 90 anything ends or anything n number of characters. Is not like this. It's because 90 is a part with a keyword, or it's not a keyword, 90 it's a value with this special sign, percent sign is along with this 90, and it's not one of the operator of your like operator. Like here we are doing percent before in n number of characters. So when percent sign comes, it's not indicating n number of characters after 90. It's actually the part of the value which is 90%. That's why we are telling, we are giving a special sign in between this, and we're asking it to escape it. So if I give a special sign apart from this like this, so it will escape this also. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, so this is where Proc SQL works. Same result. All those which have INC in it, and at the end they are having this percent. Got it? Everyone? Yes?
Yes, Ashwin.
Okay. Priyanka, Swarupa,
Yes, Ashwin.
Shanmuga, Monica, Padma, Vikram.
Yes, Ashwin.
Great. So
Ashwin,
with
it's
this,
giving me error.
what error? Just show your screen. Share your screen.
What error is it giving? Hmm. Do I need to put any comma or something?
You did not use escape after this.
Okay, right.
Check my code and write escape. Here,
Main
give
thing
space.
only I deleted.
You have to give space, okay? Not there. Before E. Before E.
So there is space.
You and check out. Wait, one sec. Your 90 and % has to end with a quotation. Single. It's giving a pair, Priyanka.
It is giving a fair. Wait. I'll have to write it again. Wait.
Don't write it again, Priyanka. Leave it as it is. Just when it comes double, remove one of it.
Yeah, it's actually, it gives me both together.
It gives you both together, no doubt. Okay, go ahead.
Fine.
INC dot. Okay, you have a dot within that word.
Yeah. See, dot 19. Stop.
Execute and check now.
Deleted escape.
Done?
Yep.
Others? Have you worked out?
Yes, Ashwin. You're done.
Great. So with this, we'll stop our day. Next session, we'll be having it on Sunday evening for you, correct? So we'll start with lesson 3 there. So meanwhile, enjoy your weekend, take care, and see you on Sunday evening. Bye and have a good night.
Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank you, Ashwini.
Thank you. Yes. Bye.